Oranga Tamariki shutting down its Christchurch youth facility pending an investigation into the alleged assault of a child. A total of 60 staff have either been stood down or will be sent home on full pay in the meantime. The 10 children living at Te Oranga will be rehoused. It follows a leaked video that shows staff tackling and restraining a child and putting them in a headlock. Oranga Tamariki can't say if or when the facility will reopen, and the agency's also putting its other residential youth facilities under the microscope. Ko taku manuhiri a nai nei ko Matthew Tukake. He heads up the Oranga Tamariki Ministerial Advisory Board that's due to report to Calvin Davis about the agency's future. Tēnā koe, Matthew.
Tēnā koe, good to be with you. Thank you for having me, Lisa.
What did you do when you saw the video?
Well, when I saw the video, my reaction was immediate. I was in contact with both Sawita Gardner and also the Minister Calvin Davis immediately, and by 2 o'clock I had left Wellington with Shannon Pakuta, former Chief Social Worker, and also Sir Mark Solomon, who was already in Christchurch, and by 3 o'clock on the day that the video emerged, we were on site at Te Oranga. We moved swiftly, we moved decisively, and for no other reason than the care and protection of the most vulnerable of our children in this country must always be our first priority. That's why me and my team, we literally dropped everything and went immediately to the site.
Did you get a chance to talk to staff, and what are they telling you about it?
Well, I've got to be very careful because there is now an ongoing police investigation, and I know you appreciate that. Yes, I sat down and I had a look at the footage. I had a look at the situation. Myself, Shannon, and Sir Mark went through a process, and that process is now ongoing. I will tell you now that the action that Sawita Gardner has taken today, and I use that word decisive quite a bit in my commentary. He moved quickly because that is what was needed. But we will, over the course of the next week, also be attending other facilities. And while I can't really talk about it at the moment because we obviously haven't been in there yet, we will do everything we can to support Sawita Gardner and also the Minister in getting to the bottom of what is going on.
I know it's a bit difficult because of the police inquiry, but here's the thing. There are 60-odd staff at that facility, right? So why is it, do you think, that this has come to light through a leak? What is going on with the culture that is the way you find out about it?
Well, look, the organisational culture is one aspect of our inquiry into Oranga Tamariki, so let's be really clear about that. Had I had my way, we would have presented our report to the government today, in fact yesterday on the 30th of June. But we haven't been able to do that because one of our board members has been ill. However, we are ready to move the report to the Minister over the coming 2 weeks, and then I'm sure, I think the Minister's already indicated that he'll respond to the report by the middle of August, which is only a couple of weeks after that. But in terms of organisational culture, look, let's be really honest and brutally blunt here. This is an organisational culture that isn't something that just emerged overnight. It's been going on for many years. It predates Oranga Tamariki. I mean, if you have a look at the whakapapa of the care and protection system in this country, it's always responded to something that has occurred around a case. In this case, it's emerged through newsroom, and good on the person who blew the whistle. If this is the way that we've all found out about this particular situation, then all I can say is truth to power to that individual that did what they did. Now, our job is to get to the bottom of what's going on, and that's why I'm moving quickly. That's why Sawita has moved decisively today, and I'm sure once our inquiries conclude, then we'll provide advice to the Minister almost immediately.
Are those children safe?
I think, look, I will tell you now, I fundamentally believe that the vast majority of children in the care of the state are safe. But these kids, Matthew, are in a facility where a video has emerged of what is quite disturbing on the surface, right? Oh, it is,
so
absolutely.
All of the staff have been stood down or told to leave in the meantime on full pay. So what happens to these kids who one imagines have had pretty disrupted lives already?
Yeah, look, and let's address that first, if I may. We are dealing with some of New Zealand's most vulnerable and at-risk children. This is not a simple task. It never was a simple task. It's going to be complicated, and so Witta's comments, I believe, earlier this afternoon, is about we have to take time and care and attention to ensure that those children are safe and also in stable environments. These children receive their schooling at the facility. These children have care plans in place, and for all intents and purposes, the vast majority of those children probably don't even know there's a storm going on around them. So whatever the next steps need to be, the centre of attention needs to be those children. Now, I come back to another point about the vulnerability of New Zealand children. I will say up and down Dale, and I don't care who's listening to this, quite frankly, but the reality that we get more than 70,000 odd notifications into the system at Oranga Tamariki, that ultimately has ended in 8,400 plus family group conferences across the country. That's ended up in 5,600 children in the care of the state, more than 60% of the Māori children. I actually think at the same time we have the conversation about what's gone on in these facilities, we must not steer away from addressing the elephant in the room, and that is we have an issue in this country, in a small country, in a small population, about violence being perpetuated on our tamariki. It doesn't matter who's doing it. We need to open that conversation and we need to sort this out.
So how are you going to get an accurate picture of what's going on in these other facilities? Because they know you're coming now.
Well, they all know we're coming. They know the Children's Commission is involved, the Independent Child's Monitor. This is actually one of the most reviewed agencies in the land, Lisa, but still something is slipping through the cracks. But yeah, we are coming. So Witta's been heavily involved, and I cannot sing his praises more than I am right now about the decisive nature of what action needs to look like. But do not be fearful of us coming. We need to come to find out what is going on, and that is the role actually of the Independent Advisory Board.
Ngā mihi mō te rā. Thanks for joining us. That is Matthew Tukaki, who is the chair of that Ministerial Advisory Board on Oranga Tamariki, who is due to report to Calvin Davis, been delayed a couple of weeks.